Today we will cover chapter 14 of this book. Okay. This 14 deals with North India and South India comparison. So today I forgot to charge my external camera, so there will be maybe some problem in visibility. Okay, so I'm using the webcam instead of external camera. So let me see if you can make out North and South India. Kinship map. Okay, North and South India. Okay, any questions on the concepts that we covered in the last class? Any questions on the concepts we covered?
Sir, not from the last class, but I have questions from the previous class.
Please.
So can you please explain the relationship between social stratification and then marriage payments?
Okay. Yes, social stratification and marriage payment. What is a stratification? Stratification refers to classes and castes. So it's like this, classes and castes. Society is divided into stratas like this, stratas, which means there are some rich people and poor people. Okay. And so stratified societies have these classes or castes, rich and poor differences. And now, in the case when woman is not working or woman is not contributing much to the income, woman is not contributing much to the income, that is to say, he is more likely to be homemaker. Okay, so there are rich people and poor people, and woman is not going to contribute much. So when a man is going to marry, whom is he supposed to marry? A rich woman or a poor woman? A rich man is there. Please switch on the videos. Rich man is there. So does he want to marry a rich woman or a poor woman? What do his parents want?
Rich woman.
Rich woman. That is true. But she is born in a rich family. How will she bring her wealth to this family?
In the form of dowry.
Exactly. In the form of dowry. But suppose there is no stratification, rich poor differences. Man is marrying a woman. So if it is really a poor society, woman's group may be losing the contribution of that woman to the income, to the group income. So man may even have to pay compensation to the woman's group, which is called bride price. Isn't it? So when there are rich people and poor people and woman is not contributing, so dowry is nothing but woman bringing her share of wealth to her husband's group. Okay. When stratification is absent, dowry is not there. Bride price may be there. And when woman is earning, then also dowry may not be there. Or woman is getting share of her property. Then when woman is marrying, her property will automatically be his. So what was Indian situation? Indian situation was stratification. Even now it is stratified. Woman's contribution was much less, but now it is changing. And woman was not inheriting the wealth. Now rules have been changed, but even after the rules have been changed, uh, inheritance is not taking place. It might go on along the traditional lines. So when there are inequalities of wealth and woman is bringing her property to man's house, and remember this is patrilineal arrangement. She is going to stay with her husband. So these elements give rise to dowry. So stratification plays a role. When any of these things changed, then the dowry practice may be less severe. What are the elements that are changing now? Number one, woman is contributing to the income. That is one huge change. That is the reason why dowry in India or its frequency is coming down. When there is dowry, it may be huge amounts, but dowry as an evil, as a important practice, has hugely come down. You may have seen it in your own experience because of woman empowerment, because women are contributing to the income. In fact, men are preferring women who are earning, educated and earning, okay, rather than simply bringing wealth. So this is how marriage payment and stratification are linked. Seventy, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And one more question
And
in
always,
the.
when you are reading something about simple societies, you just see how is it changing now.
Mm.
It was like that at one time. How is it becoming now? By what factors it has become like this? So that is a way of studying social change. That's how it works. It's a way of studying social change. So what factors have changed? What happens to stratification? What happens to women's contribution? So what happens to kinship? Study of social change. Okay. So primitive societies give a base, and then certain things keep changing. And finally we enter complex societies. This is a complex society. From state we call complex society. Okay, next.
Sir, in the quiz there is a question. Hunting and gathering communities, they don't create gender inequality or hierarchy based on economic
In
contribution.
hunter-gatherer societies, hierarchy is less.
But yeah, by considering the economic.
By considering the economy, hierarchy is less, but there is hierarchy.
But sir, again, isn't it contradicting with our, base that warfare increases the gender hierarchy, and in hunter-gatherers are, go for war and all.
That's true. Warfare increases, but in hunting-gathering economies, women's contribution is high. Women's contribution is gathering, and gathering is predictable and stable. Hunting is unpredictable. So women's contribution is very reasonable in hunting-gathering societies. Okay, and between hoe and plough, hoe is a simple better than a stick.
Correct.
Hoe contributes to, hoe is used by woman, whereas a plough is used only by a man. So when people are cultivating with hoe, that when the land is soft enough, it increases woman's contribution, and so gender hierarchy is less. This is the point that Marvin Harris raised. Whereas in the case of a plough, it is used on hard soils and more strength, usually men do, and gender hierarchy increases. So from hoe to plough, gender hierarchy increases. And intensive agriculture, gender hierarchy increases, like that. So economy is one criteria, warfare is another criteria. And you can say science and technology is another criteria. Science and technology, for example, sex related technology. What is meant by sex related, sex and reproduction related technology? Use of contraceptives, family planning has hugely contributed to woman's control over her reproduction. Woman's control over her reproduction. So to the extent woman could control her reproduction cycle, it gave her so much of power. Remember, in the old days, when you think of woman, I want you to think of woman like this. Like this, like this. This is woman's fate. You talk to your grandparents, okay, and ask them about their grandparents or their parents. They will say they had around 9 to 10 children and 3-4 survived. It is like that. Very high birth rate and very high death rate. Few people would survive. What does it mean from woman's point of view? Woman's point of view, for so many years, she is giving birth and bringing them up. 15 plus years will go into simply child caring and rearing. And average life expectancy could be around 50, something like that. Average life expectancy was very small, and then this thing was about 15-20 years. So what is it that she could do? So all this contributed to dependence on women. Okay. So now, to the extent that there is less dependency, then women empowered. So this is how all these factors have contributed to empowerment so much. Now people talk about equality, but equality is something that is unheard of historically. In fact, equality was unheard of even among people also. But the equality was first given to people, men, and then later woman element was added. You know, in American Revolution, when they said all men are equal, women later found out men meant men only. Women were not included. Now we say man means woman also, but at that time men meant men only. So later, some feminists raised that why were they talking only about men and how about women? Okay. So when equality was talked about in America, slaves were not considered, blacks were not considered, women were not considered, only men. But later, blacks came, women came, like that. So equality was a movement that spread, incorporating more and more dimensions. Equality is an important aspect of modernization. These three are very important aspects of modernization: liberty, equality, fraternity is different. Liberty and equality. Okay. Liberty and equality. Earlier, you know, liberty was not a value. You may find it surprising, how can liberty be not a value? Earlier, tradition was glorified and you were supposed to follow the tradition. So loyalty, obedience, sticking to rituals, scriptures, those were valued. So freedom as a value was as a part of modernization process, and this is called so-called Enlightenment in European tradition. Enlightenment in spiritual context is different from enlightenment in historical context. Enlightenment in a historical context meant some new things, new ideas came up after the so-called scientific revolution. So liberty and equality was one such. So equality was a new value and liberty was a new value. And to that you can add rationality was a new value. Rationality and liberty was linked because rationality is questioning the old, questioning the tradition, questioning why not this, why not that. So rationality, liberty, equality, these were new values. Okay, so woman equality got a push from these new ideas, and institutionalized expression of these new ideas is democracy. Democracy, institutionalized expression, because democracy meant liberty, equality. Okay. So woman empowerment, woman equality, democracy as a political system was all as a result of Enlightenment. It was during Enlightenment, British Revolution took place, and next American Revolution, and next French Revolution. So all these things gave rise to ideology of equality. This is called ideology. Ideology. This ideology meant ideology in the change of values. Remember, these are all values. These are all values. So change of values. Okay. So all these things hugely changed man-woman relationship. So much now people are talking about equality. But now it has never become equal, even now. It is just a matter of huge empowerment. There is no doubt about it. Huge empowerment. So this is something new. But this is not to say they at one time they were so powerless and they became increasingly powerful. Not like that. Woman's power is a matter of fluctuating. Sometimes more powerful, sometimes less powerful, and sometimes they were in a worst position. For example, in India, during medieval times or before socio-religious reform movements, sati and things like that, they were worst. But it does not mean they were always like that. They're not like that. So women's position was changing. Religion contributed to this kind of women's position. Hinduism, Islam, Christianity. No religion in that sense is completely gender equal. Equality itself is a new norm. Religions talked about compassion and things like that, but never equality as such. So this is what it is. So this is how technology is changing, polity is changing, economy is changing. And technological change not only meant technology related to sex and reproduction, but also jobs, economic opportunities, by which more women can be involved, because household work itself came down because of technology. Technology of cooking is also important. Technology of cooking is very important. A lot of things can be done with less work. So women got more freedom, and freedom to go out and work, if not full-time or part-time, and flexible increased. And of course, with IT, it is even more. And in fact, as importance of physical work reduced, then women got more opportunities also, and more kinds of jobs are created. That is why industrialization, urbanization changed women's position. How did urbanization change? Urbanization might mean living in a small family with husband, not in a big family, going out to do the job. So more jobs came, more opportunities came, and along this ideology of liberty and freedom. Okay, so all these things changed women's position. Let me tell you, in entire sociology, you can see there are on two fronts extremely positive improvement. One is woman and another is caste. Woman and caste. Okay. On the whole, where we lost, maybe environment, excessive consumption, and all kinds of problems. But woman and caste, these two are very, very clear improvements. Okay. So it is very, very clear progress. Other areas may be contested. Okay. So there is an ideological change as well as practical change. Our views, opinions changed, as well as the way we implement, the way we think itself changed. Okay. So this is how women empowerment took place. And this is changing the family structure also. We will look into that. Okay. We'll look into that. Then we'll go to North India and South India kinship system. Any questions? Ram, you want to ask something?
No, sir, I'm clear.
What is your secret, Deepika? How is your video so clear? You are using external video, external camera?
No, sir, just the laptop.
Wow. Maybe better lighting.
I'm sitting near the window. I'm sitting near the window.
Okay, sitting near the window.
So what is difference between class and stratification?
Class is an aspect of stratification. Other than the class, there can be caste. Caste also is an aspect of stratification. So there are two ways society can be stratified, class or caste. It's like that. And sometimes gender also is taken as an aspect of stratification. So people talk about gender stratification. But mostly stratification refers to class and caste.
Then what about race?
Yes, race, if one race is superior to another race, you can say basis of stratification is racial, blacks and whites. We will discuss that. That is our next topic. We'll confine to gender now. Stratification is our next unit. But tell me, were you clear about those technical things? Patri, matri, cross cousin, parallel cousin. Okay. Patrilineal, matrilineal. Okay, because it is those things we are going to discuss today. Okay, so shall we discuss?
Sir, I have one question.
Please.
So in the last class, I noticed you talked about bilateral
Descent.
descent. So in the previous questions, there is also something about bilineal descent. So I would like to know the difference between these two.
I used only, we will discuss it later. Next class on Saturday, it's going to be exclusive anthropology. So we'll discuss. But otherwise, that's too technical. Okay. So North Indian and South Indian. See, that book is written for both anthro and socio, focused on, so certain socio students can ignore some topics. It is like that. Minute, small society things you can ignore. So I'll be doing them exclusively in an anthro class. Okay. So now let us do North Indian, South Indian kinship system, which is useful for both. Okay. Okay. See, first of all, see, you will come across so many rules of North Indian and South Indian kinship system. But if you understand certain principles, you will you will see a pattern in the system. Okay. Take for example, suppose you want to create a strong patriarchy. Strong patriarchy. Okay. Tell me under what conditions strong patriarchy will be created? Tell me, should a boy bring a girl from a nearby place or a far off place? Strong patriarchy.
Far off place.
Far off place. Distant place. Why?
Involvement or communication will be less.
Yes. That's so, as she was saying, how do you husband?
Women will be
So
have lesser
woman should be
support.
brought from far off place so that husbanding becomes easy. Communication less. Far off place. Okay. That is one. Next, which means, can you tell me now, use a technical word, far off place. Can you use technical word exogamy, endogamy, in terms of exogamy, endogamy, and call it, what name will you give to that? Use the word exogamy, endogamy to say bride should come from far off place.
Exogamy.
But what exogamy?
No, it should depend on locality.
That's why, I mean, using all that, use
Patri
one
local.
word. Huh?
Patri local.
No, what is in the patri local? There is
Sir,
nothing like patri.
Sir,
There is
it could
no
be village.
patri local.
Sir, it could be village exogamy or tribe exogamy or.
That's fine, but use one word to say this is the practice they follow to make sure that the women are brought from distant places. Use one word, two words. We used two words when we were describing matrilineal, when we wanted to say that men marry, so men stay with their wives, but they want to control their sisters. So that's why when they marry, they do not marry from very far off places. So there we used one word. What is that? Pay attention to those words.
That's clan in endogamy, no?
No, we're talking about geography. Where is clan involved here?
No, I was talking about matrilineal society.
Maybe we're talking about, what do we say when we said that man will marry a woman, but that woman is not from a very far off place. So there we used a phrase. We said matrilineal societies follow towards, fill up the blank. We said matrilineal societies follow towards local endogamy. Local, geography related. Endogamy, marry within. That's all. So tell me, marrying people who are far off, what will that be called?
Local exogamy?
Exactly, local exogamy. You have to go out of the locality, is local exogamy. You have to marry within the locality, local endogamy. So local exogamy enhances patriarchy. Local exogamy. Okay. Tell me, if one is following local exogamy, will there be one unit within which one will have to follow, one will have to marry? What will be that unit?
Family.
Huh? Family. No, we're talking about locality. See, always, marriage has some in and out regulations. Endogamy, exogamy regulations. Endogamy means marry within, exogamy means marry out. Marry out of this is exogamy, marry within this is endogamy. So locally, for example, a person okay, from Jharkhand. So how far will he go to pursue his wife, to find his mate? So Nikhil, tell me, how far you will go to find your mate?
So, like I'm working, sir, in Jharkhand. I am from UP. So yeah.
You are working in Jharkhand. You are from UP. Okay. So to find your mate, to which place will you go?
Like in UP.
UP.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it's like distant, like you said, local exogamy is practiced there.
Okay, but why UP? Why can't you go to Bengal?
Now I can go, but
No, but will you go to marry a person? Will you marry somebody from Bengal?
yeah, I will do.
Why?
Like because
Talk to your parents whether they will agree.
Sir,
Just one
it's a
second. Let
culture.
him complete.
I think like circumstances have changed. I think like you were talking about modernization.
You just talk to your mother?
She will not be agreeing to it. That is for
Why
sure.
will she not be agreeing?
Because I think there are like factors of caste and other factors which are there in her mind.
What are other factors?
So like I come from a village in UP, and there are like very strong practices. Like one of the practices, like when you marry
That is
a
true.
boy, you marry in the north.
All the things considered, tell me one extremely important endogamy rule.
Culture.
Just one second. Which you will say, yes, reasonable. Very, very powerful endogamous rule. It is not actually, there may not be a conflict between children and parents on this endogamous rule.
Language.
Exactly. Language. Will you marry a Bengali and be harassed for the rest of your life?
And I think tradition or culture also.
And then when language changes, the culture changes. Isn't it? The troubles will begin from wedding day onwards. Their culture will be different and this culture will be different, whether to go on a horse or to sit like that, like this, there will be battles. So language is an extremely powerful endogamous unit. So linguistic zone is endogamous. Even if boy and girl know English, they have to live with the parents, right? So I don't think that must be rare marriages. So rarer than caste. So linguistic zone is very important. So local exogamy will be there, but definitely linguistic zone will be endogamous. We're talking about locality. Okay. So language, what is the importance of the language? Different languages mean they are not interacting. They evolved distinct cultures. Distinct cultures. Okay. Do you know in anthropology, society is defined in terms of culture and culture is defined in terms of language. A society is a group of people who is following a particular culture, and a distinctive feature of that culture is language. So in anthropology, to see whether they are moving across societies, they will see whether the people are speaking a different language. If one society which is speaking one language hasn't understood another society and its language, it means there are two different societies, two different cultures. Must be distinct. Language is a very, very important criteria of culture. Because if they are same culture and in relationship, they would evolve one common language. So Irawati Karve, who gave this kinship map of India, divided kinship on the basis of culture, and the criteria for culture was language. So Irawati Karve's kinship map of India followed linguistic zones. Linguistic zones. Jharkhand or UP doesn't matter because it's same language. But it may be same, distance wise there may not be much, but Bengal, it is a different language. Gujarati, different. Bengal and Gujarati are so much different. Okay. So language, but entire North India had certain common elements compared to South India. Tamil, Telugu, South Indian kinship system is different from North Indian kinship system because North Indians shared a particular culture. After that, there was divergence. But South Indian culture was different. South Indian culture had a different source. Their migration was different. Dravidians. So culture evolution in South India was different from cultural evolution in North India. So linguistic diversity that we see now had certain common roots. So Irawati Karve divided kinship map of India into North Indian, South Indian, Central Indian, and Northeast. Like this 1, 2, 3, 4. North Indian, South Indian, Central, Northeast. And then she saw the pattern also, how kinship is changing from north towards south. Okay, so language was an important criteria. Language was an important criteria of culture and interaction. And like this. So coming to this particular rule, local exogamy, but endogamous unit will be linguistic zone. Linguistic zone. So if linguistic zone is a practical limit, nobody wants to bring a daughter-in-law who doesn't understand the language of the family. So linguistic zone is this and local endogamy. Okay. So that strengthens patriarchy. Strengthens patriarchy. Okay. Now, another thing. Which strengthens patriarchy between bringing a kin versus distant person?
Distant person.
Distant person. If woman is distant, not at all related, then control is more. Distant. Okay. So tell me, marrying a cross cousin versus marrying somebody distant, where will there be more hierarchy? Definitely distant. Cross cousin is less of hierarchy because girl knows the boy. Okay. And next, there is another thing. Tell me, you can take some time on this. Tell me, where does hierarchy more? In one condition, women are always moving in this direction. In another condition, women are moving in this direction or in this direction. First arrangement and second arrangement. Tell me, which gives scope to patriarchy, one or two?
One.
Why? Is my question clear? Two groups are there. In one particular arrangement, women are moving only in one direction. Marriage rule is such that woman can move only in one direction. That is in this direction or this direction. Whereas marriage rule can be such that woman from this group can move to that group and woman from that group can move to this group. Tell me, which gives more scope for patriarchy between 1 and 2?
First one, sir.
One.
Why?
Second one creates a balance where like balance of power.
Exactly. Second one creates barrier to domination. If you hurt this woman, we can hurt your woman. That's why it is said that two brothers, or I mean, this is not brother and sister and brother and sister. This is one kind of marriage. This is discouraged. Tell me, why is it so? First of all, are you able to make out this diagram?
Yeah.
This is brother and sister. This is brother and sister. This sister married this man, like this. This is another symbol of marriage. How can this marriage be problematic?
Because the marriage will have involvement of the another marriage, or one couple will have involvement of other couple.
So if she has a complaint against her husband, she will inform her brother to settle the scores, isn't it?
Yeah.
So this is discouraged.
But shouldn't that be encouraged? Because like we see in the second example, there's a balance, and
There is a balance.
Yeah, so
Balance is good. Balance is good. But here, I mean, basically, one may think nobody has a control in this matter, because balance, whether there is a balance or not, is a matter of negotiation. So one couple thinks that, I mean, this woman thinks she is being ill-treated, but actually she may not be, whatever be the possibilities. So definitely, a couple is not isolated, not independent. It leads to certain complications. Or at least if man wants to dominate, definitely he should not marry somebody like this, in a relationship like this.
But then that is against everything, because we say that if we marry someone who is recognized and close to us, that leads to less of hierarchy, right?
That's true.
So
That's true.
the first case is contradiction to whatever we have said till now.
That's true. But we are just saying, what do traditional people say? Will they encourage or will they discourage? They will discourage.
Yeah.
Isn't it? So essentially, which is amenable to patriarchy? This is not amenable to patriarchy. This is complicated. This is amenable to patriarchy. Thinking in terms of amenability to patriarchy, we are not saying that that is right, not like that. This is amenable to patriarchy, whereas this more difficult. So basically, unidirectional flow of woman strengthens patriarchy, and bidirectional flow of woman weakens patriarchy. Weakens patriarchy. Okay. Okay. Now, let us look at North India. What North Indians do is that they do things that contribute to patriarchy. Number one, far off place. Bring a girl from far off place. Distant kinwise. They will follow what is called 4-clan rule. 4-clan rule. I'll explain later. Distant kinwise. Far off, distant kinwise. And then they're so hierarchical that they say, caste consists of clans. Remember, clan is always exogamous. Clan is always exogamous. Caste, always endogamous. One is supposed to marry outside clan, but inside caste. Caste is endogamous and clan is exogamous. Okay. Sometimes Within a caste, clans can be hierarchical. Clan 1, clan 2, clan 3, like this. Clans hierarchical. Okay. Some clans are superior, some clans are inferior, depending on the resource position, like that. Now tell me, for patriarchy to be strengthened, where should the girl be brought? Lower clan or a higher clan?
Lower clan.
Lower clan. So in North India, women are brought from lower clan, and that is called hypergamy, where man is more than woman. That's called hypergamy. So remember, in this case, when girl is being brought from lower clan, it means that strengthens hierarchy, which means girl taking clan is superior to girl giving clan. Girl taking clan. But anyway, is it there in South India also? Bride taking family versus bride giving family. Traditionally, which is more powerful? Bride taking or bride giving?
Right, taking the family.
Bride taking. In a wedding, who is supposed to have more power? Even in small arrangements in the wedding, who is given preference? Boys' side. Okay. So why these things, tell me? Why should boys' side be given preference and boys' clan superior? Why all this?
Because the woman is joining the boy's family.
Exactly. All these rules you should see on the fact of patrilocality. Boy is not joining woman's side. Girl is joining boy's side. And that is the source of vulnerability to girls' parents. They may take all the precautions to see that the boy side is good, but one can never be certain. And once married, there may be options, but there are no easy options. There are simply no easy options if woman is troubled after marriage. So girls' parents feel vulnerable. And during a ceremony, the girls' parents and so many people cry. What is that ceremony? When they are saying bye to the girl. Well, they know she's entering a new house. It can be tiger's den. Who knows what kind of problems. And even if it is good, there is still uncertainty. We don't know how things turn out to be. So there is some kind of helplessness, because essentially there is inequality in the relationship. So when the girl is at the mercy, what matters, what becomes is that girl's parents are at the mercy of boys' parents. So this is how it results in group inequality, family inequality. Because after all, girls' parents think, my child, our child is there. Her happiness depends on not what we think, but what her in-laws, her husband, okay, her husband's sister, whatever, all the people there, how they think and how they treat. So there is essential power imbalance in this. I want you to understand most important rule in this is about patrilocality. It changes everything. And we said in Indian context, even if neo-locality, maybe they are staying in new house, but still patrilocal rules apply. So the fact that the girl has to stay there at her husband's place means a source of vulnerability and inequality. Okay, so clans become superior and inferior, and it is found in North India. So just and if the girl is going from clan 4 to clan 1, then clan 1 will not give any girl to clan 4, because giving a girl is to lose control. It is one-sidedness that strengthens hierarchy. Bilateral movement weakens hierarchy. Bilateral movement weakens hierarchy. One-sided movement strengthens. So in North India, clans are hierarchical and they follow hypergamy. The opposite of hypergamy is hypogamy. Hypogamy. Okay. These hypergamy and hypogamy concepts are applicable even in the case of caste. Now I ask you one question. Tell me, which meets more violent disapproval between these two kinds of marriages? Where, where boy from upper caste marries a girl from lower caste, versus girl from higher caste marries a boy from lower caste, which leads to more violent resistance?
The second case, hypogamy. The second case, hypogamy.
Hypogamy. So many deaths in recent years. They are not the cases of simply inter-caste marriage. It is not inter-caste marriage as such that generates violence. It does generate, but hypogamy is more so. Why is it so? Why should hypogamy lead to that much backlash and not hypergamy? Why is it offensive that upper caste girl going and living with a lower caste boy? Why is it so?
I think, sir, that might be against the setup of the patriarchy.
Exactly.
Like, goes against it.
Exactly. If the caste hierarchy matches gender hierarchy, then there is less discontinuity. Caste hierarchy. Higher caste man got a lower caste woman, and this woman is in the higher caste family family. She is being dominated. So gender domination and caste domination are matching. Lower caste man dominating a higher caste woman, given the caste system in Indian society, why it is offensive is that the entire high caste group feels they are offended. It is our woman by that Dalit. That is how they apply pressure on the higher caste girls' parents. How can you allow this? So do you see how marriage is a relationship between groups? And in this case, when it is between two social units and when endogamy is broken, then it alters the power balance. Remember, when your daughter marries somebody, he becomes not only your daughter's husband, but he becomes your son-in-law, and his sister, your daughter-in-law, like that. Marriage is a relationship between groups. In the so-called love marriages, when boy and girl defy and marry, it is this thing that affects them. It is a relationship between groups, but there is no relationship between groups, and there is a relationship only between these two. So that is subjected to a lot of stress. So when the group norms are broken, problems arise. But what rules are broken and why are they important? Important because of these things. Property violation is not violation of the group now. Within the same caste, a poor girl brought, only the family will think, okay, he could have bought somebody rich, that's all. The caste is not offended by that process. The entire group is not offended. Okay, so it is like that. So gender hierarchy and caste hierarchy are not matching, then it leads to more violent resistance. So in North India, not only caste endogamy, but at many places, there is hypergamy. Clans are hierarchically arranged. So if a clan is taking a girl from another clan, this clan is not supposed to send its girl to that clan because that disturbs the gender domination. And strangely, Irawati Karve explains that this is true of villages also, village 1 and village 2. Okay, suppose girl is coming from this village, then this village will not send the girl to this village. It means villages also are arranged in a hierarchical way, which means girls go only in one direction. That is why it said boy from west and girl from east or whatever. What matters is that if one is coming from west, boy is coming from the west, girl cannot come from west. If girl is also coming from west means geographically it is balancing, which it is not supposed to. All this strengthen patriarchy. So a village can be girl giving village or girl taking village in terms of another village. Not that it takes only girls and doesn't give, not like that. Everybody is getting married, but it is a question of relationship with other girls. So Irawati Karve says all these rules definitely strengthen patriarchy.
Sir, so why has the institution been designed in a way to strengthen the patriarchy? Like, what was the core reason behind it? Like, if this is relevant right now.
Okay, that is true. That is important. We'll discuss. In fact, what Irawati Karve says that she doesn't think in terms of patriarchy. She says that North Indian kinship system evolved as a response to pastoralism. Pastoralism was the economy that North India was following long ago. Remember, these kinship rules came long ago. That kinship rules don't change when the technology changes. Its kinship rules are long. So she says that pastoralism was practiced. Because of pastoralism, they found it convenient to marry from distant people. Of course, the village is not like this, but on the whole, by not giving woman, see, she didn't, I don't know what she said about patriarchy, but she talked about pastoralism. See, by not giving woman to the group from which you are taking, what she thought was, you are getting related to more number of groups. That was the way she thought. You are getting related to more number of people. For example, I mean, that is another way of looking at it. So if this is group, if we exchange like this, then these two are closer to others, isn't it? A gives woman to B and B gives woman to A. A and B are closely grouped. It excludes others. On the other hand, A takes only woman from B and A has to give woman to some other group, C. Then three groups are involved. And C has to, then it's like this. This strengthens patriarchy. That is true. But I don't know about what she said about patriarchy, but she explained it in terms of pastoralism. Okay. But we know North India, there is patriarchy, and also more caste consciousness. Caste rigidity also is high, and patriarchy also is high. This is what it is. And coming to marrying somebody who is distant. In North India, there is a 4-clan rule. Boy is not supposed to marry from father's clan. Father's clan is his clan only, so clan exogamy it is. But mother's clan, this one, mother's clan, and mother's clan, and father's mother's clan. These 4 clans. Note this diagram. Boy is not supposed to marry members of his own clan, which means his father's clan, his grandfather, his father's clan. He belongs to this clan only. So boy is not supposed to marry from anybody of his own clan. That is clan 1. Not supposed to marry anybody of his mother's clan. That is 2. Mother's clan and mother's father's clan is same. But he is also not supposed to marry from mother's clan, 3. And then father's mother's clan, 4. It means 4 clans are covered. This first clan is covered in any system. First clan is there that is a universal rule, clan exogamy. But in North India, 3 other clans are added and excluded, which means a boy has to go sufficiently far off, even kin-wise. So Irawati Karve says that you have to spread distance-wise, kin-wise, far off places. She thought it was more conducive to pastoralism. But this leads to hierarchy across clans, across regions, okay? And hierarchy means isolation, can be scope for ill-treatment, domination. And she says, a village itself is divided into daughters and daughters-in-law. Okay, some are daughters born and some daughters-in-law. They came from this place. And these people are not going to this place. These people have gone this. They came from this side. So village is clearly divided into daughters and daughters-in-law. She says daughters gang up and daughters-in-law gang up. Daughters-in-law in general talk about what daughters are doing, and how bad they are. And daughters talk about what kind of daughters-in-law are they. And you know, one traditional conflict in a family is between wife and sister-in-law. Okay, wife and mother is one. So these are all conflicting points. Boy's parents. Okay, so this is one conflicting zone. Mother-in-law. And another conflicting zone is sister-in-law. Okay, why? This is all about access to the man. So earlier she had access, and now a newcomer. So newcomer has to fight for her place in this system. So there is a previous power and a new power center, new power. So these are the conflicts. Okay. So these people will say she should have behaved differently, and she would say no, it's like this. And what is happening under modernization and neo-locality is that a newcomer doesn't care about these two. These are unnecessary extras to her. Okay. So whereas this boy, this man, he's attached. Okay. Traditionally, Irawati Karve also says the problem is not with husband, but mother-in-law and others. Okay, mother-in-law plays a very, very important role. Okay, so she is ill-treated as she came as a daughter-in-law. Okay, so she tolerates till her mother-in-law dies, and then once she becomes mother-in-law, vengeance probably. Whatever she was subjected to as a daughter-in-law, now it is mother-in-law. So mother-in-law, daughter-in-law, and sister-in-law, very important roles. So sister-in-law in conflict and like this. This is all about access to man's resources, access to man's love, intimacy, these things. Okay. So the old structure versus somebody new. And in a joint family, this new person may be seen as a threat because these are siblings. There are siblings. Okay. So women are not consolidated. Women are new to each other, whereas men are known to each other. They are brothers. Okay. So woman may think, if I can break this consolidation and take him, her power will be more. And then the brothers will think this should not happen. So a woman can be seen as somebody who may break the family unity, because woman may think only about her husband and her children rather than her husband's brothers and his parents. In fact, as there is more modernization, kinship is playing less important role, which means for woman's point of view, these people become less important. Her husband is important and all others become less important, and that is also a source of conflict, because woman is not accepting the tradition. Why is she not accepting the tradition? As a result of modern education and modernization, independent income. So marriage may mean to her husband only and not to all these extra people. Okay. So traditionally, this is a very serious issue. Even now, this is an issue, but traditionally it was much more important issue because they were all staying together. So what this woman would do to her husband is something all these people would guard against. Okay. That is why these are all the reasons why woman is subordinated, because given if power goes to her, this unity can be affected. So these are all the ways that strengthen patriarchy. So many things can be explained on the idea that it is a patrilocal, and the patrilocality is the primary source of power to man. It is one woman going to a group that is already well established with its own power structure. Okay, so how that unit and how that power structure controls this woman is an issue. Okay, so in patriarchy, I mean, women's parents also know, that's why they take a risk and they feel, I mean, that's what the fate is. So they say, they think, okay, your in-laws are like parents from now onwards, so don't give any complaints to us. So you have to take care of them and you are like theirs. Okay. So in this system, daughter is so different from daughter-in-law. Daughter-in-law can be in a hostile relationship, whereas daughter is an indulging relationship. They feel insecure about the daughter. But daughter is going somewhere, how will she be treated? It's like this. So daughter and daughter-in-law are in two different relationships. So daughter is somebody whom they love, whom they want to take care of, whereas the daughter-in-law is somebody whom they may feel apprehensive about. Okay. So that is why sometimes these people will say, she is not our daughter-in-law, we'll treat her like a daughter only, which is never believed. So, but then they say, they say things like that. So there is a clear distinction between daughter and daughter-in-law. So daughter is indulgent towards daughter, one is indulgent, carefree, and in North India, there are even dress differences. A daughter is supposed to be free, and the daughter-in-law has to be very dress in a particular way. It has to look traditional, okay, more conservative, like that. Okay, but so you can see in terms of what is this group about, and how this group can be threatened, and how this woman can be a threat, and the need to control that woman. So do you see that? It's like that. Okay, But as families are becoming more nuclear and this consolidation is not a problem, this again contributes to women's empowerment. So on too many fronts, changes are favorable to women. Okay, so that's it. That is about North India. And now South India. South India, the marriage kinship system is based on not spreading, but consolidation. Consolidation. Patri-cross, matri-cross marriages. Consolidation. Okay. So draw the diagram of Patri-cross cousin marriage and matri-cross cousin marriage. In a Patri-cross, boy, father's sister's daughter is married like this. Father, sister's daughter. So when she is coming to, after marriage, she is coming to this group. So to whom is she coming? She is coming only to her mother's brother's house. So her father-in-law is nothing but her uncle previously. And he will think, who is she? She is just my sister's daughter only, as good as my sister, my daughter. So this contributes to hugely reduced hierarchy. So one is going only to her uncle's place. And this boy, who is this boy? He could have been a playmate. He knew him much before. Okay. So hierarchy is hugely reduced. Hugely reduced. So she says in South India, it is based on consolidation of the links across groups. And you see in women's movement, suppose it is this group. Woman moved in this direction, in this generation. And in this generation, woman is moving in this direction. So Patri-cross cousin marriage involves bi-directional movement of woman. So these people are not only connected, but also bi-directional movement, which means when there is a bi-directional movement, hierarchy is less likely. Okay, and when you draw the next thing, you will see that woman will move in this direction. It is like that. So Patri leads to bi-directional movement and close marriages, which leads to reduced gender hierarchy. What Irawati Karve says is that she simply says in that article that in North India there was pastoralism that contributed to it, and she means that there was nothing like that here. That's all. She didn't say anything about why South India they should go for consolidation, and in North India they should go for spreading. North India spreads, South India consolidates. Okay. And sometimes in South India, you know, they're very, very close. One family, family of brothers, maybe marrying like the sisters, like this. Close marriages. 3 brothers marrying 3 sisters. And then these two may have been linked, brother and sister. In this book, I gave family of my mother, where she is married in a context like this. Very, very close marriages. Okay. So, reduced patriarchy, closer connections. Now tell me, let me see how much you apply this concept, though you may apply it better later. Tell me, where is it easy to found a caste? Is it easy in North India or is it easy in South India? You may find it difficult to think of it, but you can try. Somebody wants to found a new caste.
South India.
Huh?
South India?
South India. Why is it so? In
Because
South India, few families will be sufficient, self-sufficiency in terms of girls. So because few families can exchange and consolidate. Whereas in North India, if you take, you can't take back. So more number of families are needed because caste is endogamous. There should be sufficient number of families for caste to exist in North India. Whereas in South India, few families can exchange females and they will be self-sufficient in terms of marriage. So when they are self-sufficient in terms of marriage, then it is easier to develop a new caste because caste is an endogamous unit. So
Sir,
simply,
what is it like developing a new caste? Like, I didn't understand this.
why you will understand it more later. But say few families became rich enough. When few families have become rich enough and they don't want to give their daughters to poorer members of the other of the same caste, then they will give among themselves and then they say that they are a new caste, like that. So few families who are exchanging females across themselves can close themselves endogamously. Caste is nothing but endogamously closing. Whereas in North India, if you have taken a female from one group, then you can't give. So you have to go somewhere else, and that family will have to go somewhere else. So wider network is needed in North India. Okay. Whereas in South India, because of close consolidation, few families can constitute a caste. Okay, you will come across in villages 2-3 families that are self-sufficient in terms of marriage. They will have enough boys and enough girls. They will marry. Finished. Nothing to export, nothing to import. Okay, so that is about North Indian and South Indian kinship system. Think of economy and think of patriarchy and the implications. Okay, here one very important thing is, take for example in central India. Okay, so in North India, no cross cousin allowed. South India, cross allowed. In central India, she found matri allowed and patri not allowed. Matri-cross allowed, patri not allowed, it seems. One may think, why, what is all this? If matri is allowed and patri, why can't patri not be allowed? It is found, if you draw the diagrams, you will see in a Patri-cross, women move like this. In a Patri-cross marriage, women move in both the directions. Whereas in a Matri-cross marriage, in a matri, always in one direction. I do the diagram in the book, you can work out. Matri is always in one direction. But let me see, why should these things matter? If it is always in one direction, what happens to the hierarchy?
increases.
Increases. Though matri in itself is reducing. Matri in itself is reducing because it is cross cousin after all. But only matri can maintain hierarchy. So Irawati Karve says, in north, no cross, south, matri and patri, in central, which is a transitional zone, some kind of hierarchy across groups is maintained, and that is maintained through Matri-cross and not Patri-cross. Okay, if you can draw, I showed it in the book, if you can draw the diagram of the second generation marriage. Okay, I drew only 2 generations, and next generation, third generation, then you will see patri both ways and matri in only one direction. So only one directional movement can strengthen hierarchy. So, and next she gives Northeast India. Northeast India is a completely different. There are many tribes and different patterns. So this is what is called kinship map of India. Okay, based on language linked to culture, and so there is a pattern. And do you see in this kinship pattern, if you work out, if somebody is a sister whom you cannot marry, then you can work out from any line, she will be sister only. So there is a consistency in these rules. You can't work out in such a way she is a sister if you trace in one way, and she can be a mate and if you trace in another way. No, that is not possible. Okay, so they give consistency to the cultural rules. Okay, make you behave in a particular way. So this is what kinship rules, differences between North India and South India. Okay. Okay. Any questions on this?
Sir, are there variations also in South India, like in terms of?
Okay. There are variations in terms of caste, and there are variations in terms of regions. But she gave a broad picture. This is about the broad picture. There can be local minor variations. Okay. Tell me, in what ways family is changing? Let us list the changes. What are the changes in the family? What do you think is the most important change?
More nuclear.
More nuclear. Family size is getting reduced. Nuclear family is increasing. Joint family reducing. Yes, more nuclear. Joint family reduced. Family size itself is reducing. Okay. Why is family size is reducing? Industrialization and urbanization. Because industrialization and urbanization support spread. Small families, nuclear families. Okay. So when the economies are stable and agricultural based, then large families are possible, brothers. But now it is more mobile. There will be differences in income among brothers, and job mobility is required. So more mobility means nuclear family, less of joint family. Okay, so that is one change. Next, within the nuclear family, what are the changes? Anyway, if I ask you what is the most important change which is behind all the changes, or which can be summarized as, what is that change? One change behind all the changes, or one change which is reflected as a result of all other changes.
Women empowerment.
Women empowerment. This is the thing. Everything you name it in this direction. So when joint family is down and nuclear family up, who benefits? Man or woman? Woman benefits. Okay, because it is more power to her. Is no longer with husband's brothers and in-laws. So size joint nuclear family is one. And within the nuclear family, what are the changes? How about division of labor? What is happening to division of labor?
It's getting divided equally. It's moving towards equal division.
Division of labor. Woman earning more, or there is a shift. So again, empowerment, women empowerment, division of labor. Division of labor is now patriarchy diluted. Patriarchy diluted. We're just comparing it with the past, not that things have radically changed. Of course, they have changed so much compared to the past. Division of labor. Okay. But then, what is happening to the stability of marriage? Instability is also rising, unstable, which means reflected in divorce rates, higher divorce rates. Okay. But do divorces mean less faith in marriage? Doesn't seem to be so, because remarriage rate is increasing. On the whole, there are more marriages in the society now, because first marriages and second marriages combined. Number of marriages per 1,000 population is increasing. So because of remarriage rates. Okay. So, and then certain unusual kinds. Remarriages are also leading to what are called reconstituted families. Reconstituted families. That is, man will come with his family, or girl will come with his, woman will come with her family. Like this. Reconstituted families, also called step families. There is increasing number of stepfathers, stepmothers. Okay. And some are going for single and also mothers, called matrifocal, unwed mothers. Unwed mothers. They are mothers, but not through marriage. Okay. And also even same-sex marriages, adoptions, and live-in. Okay. So live-in, same-sex, reconstituted, unwed, family without marriage. Parent and children, remember, that is what the family is. Family need not result from marriage. Though usually family comes from marriage, but it is not always the case. And now families are coming in the absence of marriage. Okay. So more number of people are thinking to marry or not. That is a question they are consciously asking. Okay. So to marry or not. So these are all the changes in the family, and you can see behind all these changes, women empowerment. Why women empowerment is a single most factor? Because traditionally it was too much of patriarchy. So all changes can be seen in terms of women empowerment. Okay. Including divorce. If traditionally divorce rates are low, it is because women accepted domination. Women accepted domination. So in fact, another way of summarizing the changes in the family and the conflict in the family is that changing woman but unchanging men. Okay, woman is changing, she is demanding, but man is not able to respond. So he is tied to the past and power structure, and woman no more tied. So because of which people are working out different flexible arrangements. And more importantly, all these things are also a matter of liberty, which is also called reflexivity. Reflexivity means choosing and reshaping and redesigning the culture. So people are not following what is given and as told. And as of now, marriage is no more sacred. Okay, among Hindus, it is supposed to be lasting for 7 lives, but now it is difficult to last for 1 life. So 7 lives thing is gone. So in certain religions, Hinduism believes marriage as sacred, Christianity believes marriage as sacred, but Islam doesn't believe marriage as sacred. But in these two religions also, notion of marriage is changing, and more like a contract, and divorces have become easy, and there is something called the no fault divorce. No fault divorce means earlier one had to show fault with the spouse to seek divorce. Now one doesn't have to show. So on the ground of irretrievable breakdown of marriage, they seek divorce, and within 6 months they are out. So no fault divorces emerged all over the world. So which means marriage has become less sacred now, less sacred, less rigid, and stigma to the divorce itself reduced. But of course, even now, even in the divorce, there are man-woman differences. Women are less likely to marry if divorced, and men are likely to marry if divorced. So there are man-woman differences even in the secondary marriages and divorces. And coming to man-woman differences, another trend is that women are catching up in men. In fact, even in cases of adultery, usually men used to have more adultery than women. And adultery experts say that women are making it up, catching this adultery gap. That is, women also are increasing the rates of adultery, so competing with men. So these are these are all the issues of change. That is to say, name any dimension, there are man-woman differences. Man powerful, and name any dimension, women are changing, and changing in the direction of men. Okay, so whether you call it a positive development or negative development, so this is the thing. Woman empowerment is the defining theme of man-woman relationships. Okay. Okay. Any questions? So that is about kinship map of India. So the changes in family structure also we covered. You please go through it. Okay.